quick time trial wins. Obviously, you've entered this first time trial or your first club time trial. Generally, my guess is you've got like your nice road bike, or you've picked this bike up off eBay, or it might be an amazing bit of kit that you've spent a lot of cash on.
Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
The quick wins that are going to help you go fast. Number one, it's going to be the pacing that you bring to that event. Like, you're always going to want to start like way too quick. So the pacing of the event is going to be quite critical. So understanding like where the hills are, where the downhills are, that's going to save you your time ultimately. And my guess is you're going to start like way too hard, so hold back at the start. And then ultimately you want to build into like the race. If you're looking at the bike portion of it, then what you've got to remember is 80 to 85% of the drag is actually coming from the body. So the helmet that you choose is always going to be a key part. The clothing that you wear is also going to be critical, and then the position that you've got on the bike. So if we start with like the helmet, then generally you're going to have like a standalone like road helmet. What you'd probably make quite a gain is, even if you get like an aero road helmet, we can probably get around like 6 to 8 watts with something like that. So that 6 to 8 watts generally is going to equate to like an 8-second saving over the course of the race. When it comes to clothing, that's always a big one. So if you're like your triathlete doing your first TT and you've got sleeveless, then you always want to like cover your arms. Ideally, if you can have some form of clothing that's quite well fitted, right? You don't necessarily have to have a skin suit or a tri-suit. You can have a clothing that's well fitted to you. And then the pinning of the number is always going to be a critical one. Like, you don't want to, like pin it on your back. You want to try and keep this number like quite low, because again, that's just going to cut through the air. So if you've got like a smaller size in something, then generally I'd go for that. Obviously, once you've you've rode this TT, you can then move on to adding tri-bars onto your bike. That's always going to be the biggest win. You'll probably find like 2 miles an hour. So the idea behind it is that you'll bolt like the time trial bar to your bike itself, and then the best way of setting up your bike itself is get the bike in front of the mirror. And then with this pole angle, you'll have the clamps that are bolted to the bike. You can look at yourself, and then you can start to rotate the bar into place, and then you can see how that's affecting like your body shape. Because generally, like the higher you come, then the easier it's going to be to rotate your shoulders into place. But what you need to be able to do is still see down the road. So initially, is if you ride your first time trial, bolt your bars on, and they're down here, that's going to give you a bit of a gain. But then as you start to advance, you can start to bring like the poles up, and then that's going to rotate your shoulders into play. And then you can obviously mess around like with like your pad width. That's going to be like the biggest free gains that you're gonna make on your bike. Then another key part that I would say is going to work for a lot of people is, if you've got on your bike to start off with, you'll have like a standardized like road saddle. What you find that what's going to work like really well is getting on more like the time trial saddle. You can see that this saddle here is a lot wider than this one. And the idea behind this saddle is, as soon as you rotate your pelvis into place, then basically what that's going to do is going to put a lot of weight here. So it means that you're going to move around on the bike like quite a lot if you're on that form of saddle. My guess is you're going to feel like a lot of pressure there, and it's going to be quite uncomfortable. So if you were to get like some form of time trial saddle, and then generally what you want to be able to do with that, if you just bring that saddle forwards, you'll get more over the bottom bracket, and then you can bring it up a little bit, which will obviously open up your hips. So then you transfer the power like more efficiently. So they're going to be that's number 4 that we've got in terms of like big wins, and we're going to get much more efficient. As soon as you start breaking down like the bike itself, like the big wins for most people are going to be like tyre choice. Like if you take your bike out of the shop, it's just going to come with a bog standard tyre generally. But if you start looking to upgrade that to a Continental 5000 STR or a 5000, then that's going to give you like some big performance gains. If you look on a site called Rolling Resistance Facts, you'll see some amazing savings that can be made really. And if you interact like them all together, then that's how you're going to do like a much faster time, and you can get into like time trialing like quite easily. Obviously, for most people, what's going to happen is like chainring size is also going to be a key one. Like if you take your bike out of the shop, it's generally going to come with like depending on the model, a 48 to 53 tooth chainring, but you'll generally find like the faster you go, then a bigger chainring that you're going to need, and that's when you'll start getting up to you go up to like probably like a 54, 56, and then that'll give you like better inertia. You'll be able to get on top of the gearing, ultimately like ride a lot faster. And the main thing about all of this is it's just like a learning process, isn't it? You've got to work out how fast you want to go, which is always as fast as you can. Looking at like your cadences, like now we all use Strava and all these type of things, you can start to see like what is that giving me for speed ultimately. So if you only ever make one change at a time, because then you always know what's working, and that's the way to get quick. So enjoy.